So, if you're a Ford owner, you've probably had that sinking feeling when the check engine light just pops on out of nowhere. It's like your car is sending you a cryptic message, a riddle you've got to solve. Well, today, we're going to crack one of the most common ones out there, the P0443 code. You see that little orange engine glowing on your dash, and your mind just starts racing, right? Is this going to be serious? Is it going to be expensive? You know the drill. When it comes to code P0443, the good news is your car is telling you about a very specific problem, and we're going to track it down together. Okay, so let's get right into it. The first step in any good investigation is to properly identify our target. What exactly is this code trying to tell us? So on paper, P0443 stands for Evaporative Emission Control System Purge Control Valve A Circuit. Yeah, I know, that is a mouthful, but don't worry about all that. The two words you really need to focus on are evap system and circuit. Evap is all about how your car handles gas fumes. But the word circuit is the real clue here. It tells us the problem is electrical, not necessarily a busted mechanical part. Let me break it down. Think of it like this. Your car's main brain, the computer, sent an electrical signal to a little valve, telling it to open or close. But the signal it got back wasn't right. Maybe it was too weak, too strong, or just nothing. So the computer flags it and says, hey, we've got a bad connection here. That's what P0443 is all about. And that brings us to our lineup of the usual suspects. The problem could be a break in the wiring, what's called an open circuit, or it could be a short, where a wire is touching something it shouldn't. Of course, the purge valve itself could be the problem, or in some pretty rare cases, it might even be an issue with the main computer. Our job is to go down this list and figure out who the real culprit is. But hold on, before we start pointing fingers, we need to understand the scene of the crime. What even is this evap system, and why should you care? Understanding what it's supposed to do is absolutely key to solving this thing. You know, its job is actually pretty cool. See, raw gasoline fumes are nasty pollutants. So instead of just letting them vent out of your gas tank into the air, the evap system traps them in a charcoal canister. Then, when the time is right, it purges those fumes and feeds them into the engine so they can be burned up cleanly. It's a really smart emissions control system. All right, so we know what the code is, and we know where the problem is happening. Now, we need a plan of attack. Mechanics don't just start randomly replacing parts. No, they follow a very logical, step-by-step process to pinpoint the exact issue. And here's that plan. It's a simple 3-step process. First, you check the power supply wire. If that's good, you check the control wire. And only if both of those are cleared, you start looking at the actual hardware. See? This way, we check the most common and easiest to fix things first. Okay, it is time to put on our detective hats. Let's start inspecting the evidence and following these clues, just like a pro technician would. First up, step 1. So first on the list is the VPWR circuit. This is just the wire that provides power to the purge valve. A mechanic will take a simple voltmeter and check if the right amount of juice is getting through. If that voltage reading is off, well, boom, case closed. We found a break in the power line. But what if the power supply is perfectly fine? Well, then that suspect is innocent, and we move on to the next one in the lineup, the evap PCP circuit. This is the control wire that the computer uses to talk to the valve. We gotta make sure this line of communication is clear. Now, a wire like this can fail in a few different ways. You can have an open circuit, which is basically just a cut in the wire, simple as that, or it could be shorted. That means the wire's insulation has worn off and it's touching the metal frame of the car or another wire, causing the electrical signal to go completely haywire. So what if both the power and the control wires check out perfectly? If all the wiring is good, our investigation takes a big turn. We stop looking at the communication lines and we start looking at the hardware at either end, the valve itself and the main computer that's sending the signals. So, after following all the clues, testing the circuits, and inspecting the parts, we can finally close the case. We've successfully isolated the one faulty component and we're ready to deliver the final verdict. And this right here is why all this matters. You know, fixing this code isn't just about getting that annoying light to turn off. It's about making sure your car is running efficiently, not wasting fuel, and, of course, being able to pass an emissions test. It's really about the long-term health of your vehicle. So here it is, the whole case file, wrapped up in a nice, neat summary. Each suspect is tied directly to its solution. If a circuit is broken, you repair it. If the valve itself is bad, you replace it. It's a clear, straightforward map from the problem to the fix. And just like that, the mystery of the P0443 code is solved.
You're not in the dark anymore. You know exactly what your car's trying to tell you. You've seen the list of potential culprits, and you understand the logical steps to find the answer. So the only real question left is, what's your next move going to be?